Chair. I'm so pleased today to introduce Mayor Ellis. Having served as a mayor in a neighboring city, I have a great appreciation for his position as mayor, for the work that he does, and for this amazing community that he represents and those who surround him. So, Mayor Ellis, thank you for traveling with your wife to be with us today, and we look forward to your testimony.
Mr. Ellis, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. Appreciate the opportunity to be here, and Ranking Member Curtis. It truly is an honor. Elk Ridge is a small city located about an hour south of Salt Lake City. We are bordered by a few other small communities, some beautiful orchards that we cherish, and also the Forest Service land. We share this common border with the Forest Service, and because of that, we are certainly aware and have a heightened concern for wildfire. During the summer, it's common for us to have south winds that blow hot and dry. And at these times, we all are very concerned about the dangers that forest fires would bring to our city. And history shows that the impact of forest fires into communities like Elk Ridge is serious and can be devastating. Just look at the Camp Fire in California, which was California's deadliest and most destructive fire ever recorded. The facts that lead up to this and all the facts of the devastation just can't do justice to the devastating impact on these communities, the families, and the individuals that are affected. On Friday, August 24th of 2018, lightning sparked the Bald Mountain Fire. Later, it would become a very significant event for Elk Ridge City. On September 13th, a prolonged period of red flag warnings were to be issued. With the help of these southerly winds blowing at 35 miles an hour and greater, that little fire transformed into a major wildfire. In less than 16 hours, it grew from pretty much nothing to about 6,000 acres. And more importantly, it started at 9.5 miles away from our city, and within that 16-hour period, it advanced to 4.5 miles away from our city. And of course, this rapid advancement led to us issuing mandatory evacuation for the cities of Elk Ridge and Woodland Hills. With the city being evacuated, this eerie quiet settled in with the smoke. And that evening, we watched that fire progress from 4.5 miles away to 2.5 miles away. And I remember sitting in those just beneath our big city flag outside, with that flag standing straight out in those winds, and we were wondering to ourselves, how long would it take? How long is it going to take before it hits our city? Experienced wildland firefighters that night commented that by the time morning hit, our city would be horribly devastated before morning. And we all resigned to the fact that there were going to be homes lost in our city. Fortunately, because of the evacuation, we did not too concerned about the loss of life. During those late hours of September 13th and the beginning of the next day, we observed a dramatic change in how that fire progressed. It stopped its advancement north and went east instead, behind the mountain that is the subject of this bill today, or this resolution today. And it defied all reason, and the firefighters were amazed at how that fire changed direction in its progression. With daylight coming upon us, I decided to take a tour through the city to see if I could see any spot fires or the like. And as I drove towards that mountain, I said to myself, it truly is a miracle that that mountain remains green, and behind it is nothing but ash. As it turns out, that was not the only unexplainable event in this fire. Yes, it changed course. In the canyon that did come into our city, there was a woodshed there, and it burned to the ground. That was the only structure that fire destroyed. And that woodshed sits underneath a pine tree, which was scorched, and next to a home which was never even damaged in any way. There were many amazing events that occurred during this time, one of which was the great support from our communities. The Red Cross was on scene. Fortunately, with all the homes that were evacuated and all the families displaced, the Red Cross did not need to service any homes or in any way. They actually packed up and left because our community took us all in, and we were very grateful for that. And as mayor, I testified that the Bald Mountain Fire had a potential to devastate our little cities. Madam Chair, I've laid out before you this brief summary, and I cannot explain why Elkridge was spared, but I can tell you that we all feel that it would be a miracle. It would be a terrible tragedy to simply let all this fade away with the passage of time without have some permanent reminder that these events recognized by so many people as miraculous. Is therefore my hope that this subcommittee will find it favorable to give the mountain that we've named Miracle Mountain its proper name for generations to come. And I appreciate the opportunity once again to be here and to testify before you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ellis. Thank you all for that valuable testimony. The chair will now recognize members for questions, and under Committee Rule 3D, each member will be recognized for 5 minutes.
Ellis, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for traveling this long distance to be here with us today. In your testimony, you talked about the Red Cross. I'd like to just mention my experience. As I talked to the Red Cross, they explained their reason for leaving the scene is that more people came into their office offering home and lodging than came in looking for a home and lodging. Can you maybe share with me in the community what it is about your community that makes that part of their characteristic, and what it's like to serve as a mayor of a community like that?
Yeah, thank you for the question, first of all, and the comments. It's a remarkable experience to serve in a community that considers not only the residents of our city as neighbors and friends, but also cities around us. And anytime anything happens in our community, the cities around us are responding with us side by side. We work so close together, and just that kind of camaraderie between all the residents and all of the cities that are around us just brings us together. So when this event occurred, it was immediately recognized that there was going to be needed significant help, not only in providing bedding and quarters for people to reside, but we have a lot of children and families, so they needed to have an awful lot of activities. We had people bring in animals and things for other kids to be able to go in and take their mind off of that devastation, because when you leave your home, those little kids, they are traumatized by that event. And the community it went far beyond what I could even imagine. The animals, for instance, people stepped up and offered their pastures for horses and their homes for the cats and the dogs and everything else that you don't think about when a fire is upon you. So it's amazing to serve in a community like that.
Right, and we should acknowledge this is, your town is a town of about 2,000. This impacted tens of thousands, so neighboring communities. It wasn't just your town. You get to represent all of them here today, but I think our same feeling goes for the many towns and cities that surround you. Also would like to mention and make sure that it's acknowledged that the Forest Service has supported this bill, and I think that's important. Can you maybe comment on, assuming this legislation is successful and we were able to name that Miracle Mountain, what the designation would mean to your community?
Well, we're prepared to start with a very large celebration this summer. It will become part of our city celebration as Miracle Mountain. I would hope to name it the Miracle Mountain Celebration. There's a new elementary school that's proposed to be put into our city, and I'm going to work hard to have that, if this goes through, named Miracle Mountain Elementary as well. It means a lot to all of our citizenry. As I mentioned in my testimony, we now refer to it as Miracle Mountain. If you say Miracle Mountain, you know exactly what we're talking about, and so it's well received.
So in other words, you've got this figured out. The federal government just needs to catch up with you.
We just need that little bit of help.
Can my members who are here today assume that they would be invited to this Miracle Mountain celebration? And
we would love to have you there. We will make sure that you have a celebration of a lifetime.
because we know how to celebrate in Utah, don't we?
We do.
All right. Thank you very much. I yield my time.
Thank you.